There's a lot of trade talk around the New York Islanders right now, and for good reason. The season is kind of in flux. We don't know if we're buyers, we don't know if we're sellers, we don't know if we're retooling. There's just a lot of unknowns because it could be either one of those come the trade deadline in March. It could really be either one of those things. So with a lot of uncertain leads a lot of questions, and with a lot of questions leads people to fill in the gaps. And what that means is people are making trade packages or trying to pull in players left, right, and center. I don't want to focus on that so much. I want to focus on, obviously, the prospect pool and thinking about prospects that the Islanders could move out. So I've picked 3 guys that I think the Islanders not should move out, but could move out, and I'll explain why. Hit the subscribe button, don't miss a video. I'm trying to get to at least 575 by the end of the month, and we're almost there. Also, go to Twitter, follow at TLOMitch. That's me. I just don't want you to miss any breaking information I haven't yet covered on the channel. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of making sure everything I have based on prospects gets up on the channel first and not on Twitter. But I'm usually on Twitter more than I am on YouTube, so it's just I'm still kind of lagging behind in the transition, but I'll get there. Until I do, make sure to follow me on Twitter just so you don't miss anything. So who are the 3 players I think could be traded from the Islanders prospect pool? Well, let's start with the first one, Otto Koivula. And the reason I bring him up is because he's having a really good year with the Bridgeport Islanders. At the moment, he's on a 29, rounding up, 29-point NHLE season, which is good. That is a really good year for Otto Koivula, much better than he had last year. And so you might be saying, well, then why trade him? Well, it's because I don't think he's got a direct path to the NHL for the Islanders, right? Think about the Islanders team right now. Does he fit into their, at least even bottom 6, right? Does he fit into their bottom 6 right now? No. He doesn't. He's playing kind of center right now, but he's more of a winger, so he can play either one. But do you see him slotting into the team as it stands now? No, you don't. You really don't. So because of that, why not sell high on this kid? Why not? You could probably bring him back next year because he's an RFA. Where else is he going to go? But you've got other players that you're going to be bringing in, ideally, to play center. Aatu Raty's definitely coming. That's happening. So there's a center coming in. You could ideally have Ruslan Ishakov also coming in as a center. I think he's a better winger, but either way, that's 2. Reese Newkirk is probably going to have a more pronounced role at the AHL level next year down the middle. And you've also got Colin Adams you can play there, let alone some of the veterans that they can probably bring in to play down the middle. Maybe they keep Andy Andreoff. Maybe they bring someone else in. Right, so you've got options there to move Otto Koivula. And so why not? He's having a really good year. Why not sell high on a guy that's probably not going to crack the NHL roster and should be at the point in his career where he's cracking an NHL roster? Why not sell him for, I'm not going to venture on what he can return because it could be anything, but at the very least put him in a package to bring something else back if we're retooling. The second player is again a player that I want to sell high on, and that's Parker Wotherspoon. Now, when I say sell high, I don't mean like we're going to get a ton back for him. It's just he's having a really good year at the AHL level, and it's probably time for him to move on somewhere else. And he's trending upwards. We talked about it on the regular show for Eyes on Isles the other day. His NHLE week by week is kind of skyrocketing. Maybe not skyrocketing. Is jumping up, right, over the last couple of weeks. So things are trending in the right direction for Parker Wotherspoon. And let's be honest, he's one of the older prospects in the prospect pool. At this point, we kind of know what we have in Parker Wotherspoon, and it's clearly not an NHL player for the Islanders. I really want to stress that. He could very well be an NHL player on another team, but for the Islanders, he does not have a path to the NHL, just like Otto Koivula. Right? We already know that the 7th defenseman right now is Sebastian Aho, 8th defenseman is Grant Hutton. Parker Wotherspoon may be the 10th, maybe the 9th, and that's just me going like, I guess if I had to put someone there. So why not sell on someone that is trending high? Again, you're not going to get a whole lot back for Parker Wotherspoon, but you could get something back. I could see him going as, at the very least, a warm body in a trade, kind of like what they did last year with Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac, right? Where they sent 2 players over to kind of swap numbers, right? They're bringing 2 players in, sending 2 players out, keeping the number of contracts on the books to the same level. I can see that happening with Parker Wotherspoon on a team that's saying, we're looking to take a shot on a guy that we think could maybe be our number 6, maybe number 7 guy. The final player I'm bringing up here, and it kind of pains me a bit to bring him up, is Ruslan Iskhakov. Hyper talented, can make skilled plays, high skilled plays, sees the ice well, opens pockets, finds pockets, is a tenacious forechecker, can play center, can play the wing, plays on the power play, can do all of those things. And he's strong along the boards for someone who isn't very big, but he isn't very big. He doesn't have NHL size, and so he's immediately disrespected for it. Right? Like a player who's similarly talented but stands at least 6 feet tall, direct path to the NHL. We can see that happening. But because Ruslan Iskhakov is a few inches shorter than that, not so much. So that's why I've got him on the list here. And it's not to say that I don't think the Islanders don't like him. I think they do. But because there isn't that clear, direct path to the NHL through the New York Islanders, maybe they trade a kid who's doing really, really well in Europe. Like, he's had a stop-and-go year so far this season for the Adler Mannheim, with significant injury, right? 12 weeks out, and now there's postponements almost every week. Just stop and go for Russian, but he's having a really good year. He's having, at least in terms of production, it's standing out. To me, the Islanders need to bring this guy in and play him on the wing next year in Bridgeport. They have to bring him in and play him on the wing because I think he can be absolutely lights out at the AHL level. But I'm not confident they're willing to do that, which is why I have him on this list. I also have him on this list because of all those factors I previously mentioned. Hyper skilled, can see the ice, etc., etc., etc. You bundle that all in, that has to be attractive to someone. Now, I'm not saying that someone is going to cough up a second or even a first-round pick for Ruslan Iskhakov. That's just not going to happen. But if you can bundle him into a package for someone who thinks that they could do something with him, you do it. You do it. You have to if you're the Islanders, if you're not willing to sign this kid. And I'm not confident they are. I desperately want them to, but I'm not confident they're willing to do so. Now, of course, I only mentioned 3 players here. That doesn't mean that no one else or that everyone else can't be touched. Of course not. Anyone in the prospect pool is tradable. I only mentioned these 3 guys because I think they're guys that could very well be moved by the Islanders. If you think someone else should be traded, say so in the comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you have not subscribed yet, hit the button. And if you have, thank you, thank you, thank you.